Hi, this is Andy with Ninox Corporation. In this class, we're going to continue talking about our accounting modules, specifically the purchase order module. I'll go ahead and click the function switch to go into my function menu and click the purchasing icon to enter the purchase order module. When I click the icon, I have the option to create a new purchase order, receive against an existing purchase order, or click cancel and view all of the existing purchase orders that I have in my PO ledger. It's important to remember that a purchase order can be deleted or edited as long as that PO is open. Once a purchase order has been received against, it can no longer be changed, it can no longer be deleted. I'm going to go ahead and create a new purchase order. I'm already in the module, so I'll just click Add New to create a new purchase order. The PO number is automatic. The PO prefix tells us that this is a purchase order. 2312 is the year and the month, and this is purchase order number 4. The system will automatically increment PO numbers one at a time. You can set the first PO number when you set up your system. The date will automatically default to the current date, but you can override that if you wish. I'm going to select the vendor that I'm going to send this purchase order to, and we'll select Franklin Supply Company. Once I've selected a vendor, I can indicate the name of the person that I'm working with at this particular vendor company. And let's say I'm buying from Kathy Owens. I also have the option to indicate who approved the purchase order and the date on which the order was approved. This is not necessarily required for a purchase order to be in effect. I also have the option to set shipping method and shipping date. This will be reflected on the purchase order form, and when I receive against the purchase order, this information will carry over. As is the case with all of the modules in our system, you have the opportunity to create an unlimited number of user-defined categories and classifications. Classifications define categories. So if I select PO Category 1, I see the classes available within that category. If I changed my category selection, I'd get a new set of options for classification. If you're running the job cost and project management modules, you can specifically allocate a purchase order to a particular project, job, milestone, or task. You also have the option to specify a particular customer or a particular order for which this purchase order is being cut. Let's say we have a sales order with a particular customer. They've bought 10,000 widgets from us. We don't have those widgets in stock, so we're going to go ahead and order those widgets from Franklin Supply Corporation. I could go ahead and indicate their specific customer, and I could even go as far as to tie this back to a customer invoice. And that would allow me to know that when these 10,000 items on this purchase order are received, they're specifically allocated to this sales order for this particular customer. Shipping terms can be defined, and you have a notepad where you can put any order notes. Order notes will appear on the printed form. The vendor will see these notes, so keep that in mind when you're typing them in. Now, when we want to enter line items, it's as simple as creating a new record here in our PO line items. Like the PO number itself, line items are automatically numbered. Again, this is PO 231204, line item 1. And we're going to purchase those 10,000 widgets. In video 703, when we talk about receiving, that's where we'll see how the quantity received and any back order information is automatically tracked. We'll look at that in the other video. You also have line item notes, which are internal only. The vendor will not see the line item notes on a printed PO. And finally, the unit cost defaults per the product. Here we see our product definition. We have a default unit cost of $20. That unit cost can be overridden at runtime, but again, it will default based on the default purchase cost for each product. If a product is stored in a default location, that storage location will also be reflected here. Storage location can be changed or updated when the product is actually received and prepared to go into inventory. So we've now ordered our 10,000 widgets to satisfy this customer order. Let's say shipping and handling is going to be a flat $1,500. There's a 10% trucking fee, which is going to be $20,000. And they're going to give us a 5% discount, which is $10,000. It is not necessary to enter discounts as a negative number. The system will automatically calculate a reduction in the total purchase order based on the number you put into the discount field. It does not need to be a negative number. I want to point out that you may not necessarily know what the shipping and handling or miscellaneous charges or any discount that you're going to receive at the time the PO is cut. Those amounts may not be known until the vendor sends you the bill for the product that you've ordered and they've shipped. You do have the option to set an acceptable variance within your purchase order module. That variance allows you to define by how much the bills against a PO can exceed the total of the PO. Let's say, for example, that we set a 10% acceptable variance. We cut our PO for $20,000. When the bill shows up, it includes $10,000 in shipping, $1,500 in miscellaneous fees, and a $5,000 discount. So we authorized a $200,000 purchase, but we received a bill payable in the amount of $206,500. Since the bill does not exceed the amount of the PO by more than our 10% variance, that bill can go ahead and be processed and paid through the purchase order system. If, however, we were to receive a bill for $236,000, well, that would exceed our 10% variance. The 10% variance only allows for bills up to $220,000, 10% of the purchasing amount on the PO. Any bills that are received that exceed the purchasing power plus the allowable variance of a PO are going to be flagged, and those bills will require further attention before they can be authorized for payment and cash disbursement. So we have $200,000 in product, we have $21,500 in additional fees, and a $10,000 discount, which gives us a total purchase order of $211,500. Now these two fields here, total payments and purchase authorization remaining, are tied to the bills that we will receive against this PO. We get into vendor bill management in video 408, but as you receive bills against this order, you can process those bills through the system and tie them back to this purchase order. Now, this purchase order is basically giving us $211,500 worth of purchasing power. We are able to purchase that much according to this order with this particular vendor. Purchase orders may not necessarily be all filled at one time. We may cut a purchase order for the entire year for $12,000 and then actually receive $1,000 worth of product every month. We pay $1,000 each month. As payments are made against the bills that we receive from the vendor, when those bills are tied to this PO, that will reduce our purchasing power. So let's say that we have received $200,000 worth of product against this PO, and we have paid the full $200,000 in accounts payable against that vendor bill. That means we have $11,500 left in purchasing power. This PO authorized us to spend $211,500. We've already spent $200,000, giving us $11,500 in remaining purchasing power. So a purchase order can be a blanket order if you expect to have multiple receipts against it and make multiple payments against multiple bills tied to those multiple receipts. Once you have created your purchase order, as I said previously, you can edit it or even delete it as long as it remains open. Once it is sent to the vendor, and once you start receiving against it, you no longer can delete a PO and you can no longer edit the PO. You can issue additional POs to either cancel this one, reduce this purchasing power, or increase it. But once a purchase order is put into effect, it no longer can be changed. We can print the purchase order by clicking on the print button, or we can go and do that through our document management module. To do that, I simply click on the document button and select New Document. The system will automatically prepare the purchase order, tag it, attach it to this profile, and here we can see the PO. There is a default PO format for all purchase orders in the system, but you can customize this format to set it up with your own logo, your own colors, your own layout and design if you wish. This is the default purchase order layout. Once a purchase order has been created, you then have the option to view it in the library. Here we see this PO document as we just created it in the library. And if we want to hide the document library, again, simply click on the document button and click Cancel. Once we return to our screen, we see the new purchase order here in our ledger. Our ledger shows us the total of all purchase orders, the total amount that's been paid against those purchase orders, and that leaves us with the total purchasing power remaining, the total open PO amounts that have been sent to vendors for future fulfillment. That's the purchase order module. To learn more about the receiving module, go ahead and check out the receiving video, number 703, and to learn more about vendor bill management, you can go ahead and watch the training video number 408, Vendor Bill Management. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next class.